Some people are born whole. Others are shattered by the hands they trusted most. And then there are the rare ones who learn to love the broken pieces back together.
Adam Castellano didn't get angry often. When you had enough money to solve most problems with a phone call, rage became an inefficient emotion. But standing in Daniela Monroe's pristine kitchen, watching her reject the meal he'd spent 2 hours preparing, something inside him finally snapped. "You haven't even looked at it," he said, his voice strained. Daniela stood by the kitchen island, arms wrapped around herself like a shield. Her dark eyes flickered to the pain of herb-crusted salmon and roasted vegetables, then away, as if the sight caused her physical pain. "I'm not hungry." "That's the 3rd time you've said that this week." Adam set down the spatula, his hands trembling with something between frustration and desperation. "Do you know what I did today? I canceled a meeting with the Dubai investors, a meeting I've been trying to arrange for 6 months, so I could go to 3 different markets to find the freshest salmon. I watched YouTube videos on how to make hollandaise sauce. I burned my hand twice trying to get it perfect for you." "I didn't ask you to do that," she said quietly. The words shattered something in him. "No, you didn't." His voice cracked. "But can't you see I'm trying to impress you? I'm desperately in love with you, Daniela. Desperately. I want you to look at me, to really see me. I want you to know that I'm serious about this, about us." "But you won't even heed," gestured helplessly at the food. "Why don't you want me to love you? Why don't you want my heart?" The silence that followed was devastating. They'd only been dating for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of Adam falling harder and faster than he'd ever fallen for anyone, while Daniela kept herself carefully guarded, always 1 foot out the door. He'd felt it from the beginning. The way she'd look at him sometimes like she was surprised he was still there, like she was waiting for him to leave. He'd thought if he could just prove himself, show her he wasn't going anywhere, she'd let him in. Instead, she was looking at him now with something that might have been pain or pity, and he couldn't tell which was worse. "Adam," she whispered, "it's not about you. Then what is it about?" The words came out raw, almost pleading. "Because from where I'm standing, it feels like you're with me out of politeness. Like you're just waiting for this to be over." Something flickered across her face, real pain this time, unmistakable. But she said nothing. Adam grabbed his jacket with shaking hands. "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pouring my heart into someone who won't even meet me halfway. I'm done, Daniela. I'm done trying to prove I'm worth loving." He walked out before she could see him cry. For 5 days, Adam was a ghost of himself. Marcus, his assistant, watched him spiral with increasing alarm. The man who usually ran his empire with precision and passion now moved through meetings like a sleepwalker. He signed documents without reading them. He stared at his phone during conference calls. He looked like someone had reached into his chest and removed something vital. "Okay, that's it," Marcus finally said, walking into Adam's office and closing the door. "We're talking about this." "There's nothing to talk about. You've been miserable for 5 days. You're in love with her." "Was," Adam corrected bitterly. "Past tense. She made it clear she doesn't feel the same way." "Did she say that?" "She didn't have to. Actions speak louder than words, Marcus. I gave her everything, and she gave me nothing back." Marcus studied him for a long moment. "You know what I think? I think you're looking at this wrong. People who've been hurt don't reject love because they don't want it. They reject it because they're terrified of it." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying maybe there's a reason she won't open up to you. A real reason. And maybe if you stopped feeling sorry for yourself long enough to find out what it is, you'd understand why the woman you love is pushing you away." The words hit Adam like a physical blow. Marcus leaned forward. "You want to give up? Fine. But you're a man who built a billion-dollar empire from nothing. You don't give up when something's hard. You figure it out. So figure her out, Adam. Or spend the rest of your life wondering what you could have done differently. Adam started digging that night. Daniela had mentioned once, early in their relationship, that she'd grown up in St. Catherine's home for children. It was a small detail she'd shared over wine, her voice carefully casual, like she was testing to see if it would change how he looked at her. It hadn't. But now it was the only thread he had. He called in favors, made donations. By the end of the week, he had a contact sister, Mary Margaret, who'd worked at St. Catherine's for 40 years and remembered every child who'd passed through those doors. Daniela Monroe, the elderly nun said warmly over the phone. Oh, yes, I remember her. Sweetest girl. She was about 12 when she came to us. Quiet, serious, always taking care of the younger children. Do you remember anyone she was particularly close to? There was another girl. Let me think. Rebecca Chen. They were thick as thieves. Rebecca still lives in the city, actually. Runs a bakery on Maple Street. Adam was there the next morning. Rebecca Chen was a petite woman with flour on her apron and a warm smile that dimmed the moment Adam introduced himself. You're Daniela's boyfriend, she said, not a question. I was. Maybe. I don't know anymore. Adam ran a hand through his hair, frustration bleeding into his voice. Look, I know this is strange, but I need to understand something. Why doesn't she open her heart to anyone? Why does she refuse care and doesn't even appreciate my efforts in caring for her? I bring her flowers, and she thanks me like I'm a stranger. I tried to do nice things for her, and she acts like I'm going to disappear any second. She won't even touch anything I cook like I'm trying to poison her or something. And his voice cracked. I love her so much, and I don't know how to reach her. Rebecca's expression shifted from suspicious to sad. She didn't tell you about Maya. Who's Maya? You should sit down. The story Rebecca told him made Adam's blood run cold. Maya hadn't been Daniela's biological sister, but she might as well have been. Daniela had found her being bullied in the orphanage courtyard when Maya was 8 and Daniela was 14, a tiny, scared girl with bruises on her arms and fear in her eyes. Daniela had stepped in, become her protector, her everything. Daniela practically raised her, Rebecca said quietly. Used her stipend to buy Maya clothes. Helped her with homework. Stayed up with her when she had nightmares. When Daniela aged out of the system at 18, she worked 3 jobs to rent an apartment so Maya wouldn't have to stay in foster care. She gave that girl everything. What happened? Adam asked, though part of him already knew the answer would destroy him. Maya grew up beautiful. Started dating this guy when she was 22. He was bad news from the start, but Maya was in love. And then he met Daniela. Rebecca's hands tightened around her coffee cup. He became obsessed. Started comparing them. Told Maya she should be more like her sister, more confident, more beautiful, more everything. It poisoned something in Maya. All those years of Daniela's love and sacrifice. And all Maya could see was that even her own boyfriend wanted her sister more than he wanted her. Adam felt sick. Daniela invited them both over for dinner one night. She'd made Maya's favorite lasagna. She always cooked for Maya, you understand. It was how she showed love. Maya offered to help with the salad. Rebecca's voice dropped. She put rat poison in Daniela's portion. Enough to kill her. Daniela collapsed at the table. The boyfriend, he panicked when he saw what was happening, realized something was terribly wrong. He's the one who called 911. If he hadn't, she would have died. Jesus Christ, Adam breathed. Maya confessed everything at the hospital. Said she loved Daniela but hated her at the same time. Hated that everything came so easy to her, that people loved her without trying, that she was everything Maya could never be. She got 2 years in a psychiatric facility. Rebecca wiped her eyes. Daniela never visited her, never opened her letters. She told me once that the worst part wasn't almost dying. It was that the person who tried to kill her was the person she'd loved most in the world. The little girl she'd protected and raised and would have died for that girl had tried to murder her with food Daniela, made with love. Adam couldn't speak. After that, Daniela couldn't trust anyone. Not just with food, with anything. She built walls so high nobody could climb them. She stopped letting people take care of her. Stopped accepting help. Stopped believing that love didn't come with conditions or betrayal. Rebecca looked at him with something like pity. The therapist said it was PTSD, but it was more than that. It was a wound so deep it changed who she was. She became cautious instead of loving, guarded instead of open. She pushes people away before they can hurt her, because the person she trusted most in the world tried to kill her. "I'm heartbroken," Adam said hoarsely. "For her. And I'm an idiot for not seeing it sooner." Rebecca's expression softened. "She talked about you, you know. Last time we met. Said you were too good to be true. That she was waiting for you to figure out she wasn't worth the effort. She's wrong. I know. But you'll have to prove it to her. And it won't be easy." "I don't care," Adam said, standing. "Thank you, Sarah, for telling me." "Take care of her," Sarah called as he reached the door. "She deserves someone who won't give up on her." "I won't," Adam promised. "Not ever." He spent the rest of the day in a grocery store, filling 2 carts with every canned and packaged food item he could find. The cashier looked at him like he was insane. "Preparing for the end of the world?" she asked. "Something like that," Adam muttered. He drove to Daniela's apartment and knocked. When she opened the door, her eyes were red-rimmed, like she'd been crying. The sight of her nearly broke him. "Adam, I know about Maya," he said. She went pale. "How?" "I went to the orphanage. Found Sarah. She told me everything." He held up the grocery bags. "And I'm so sorry, Daniela. For pushing you, for not understanding, for making you feel like you had to choose between eating and feeling safe." Daniela's eyes filled with tears. "You shouldn't have to deal with this. With me. I'm broken, Adam. I can't even eat normal food without having a panic attack." "You're not broken." He set down the bags and took her hands. "You're surviving. There's a difference. And I don't want to fix you or change you. I just want to love you. However that looks. Whatever that means." "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you want someone like me?" "Because I'm desperately in love with you," he said simply. "Because you're brilliant and strong and beautiful. And the fact that you're still standing after what you went through is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Because when you smile at me, really smile, it feels like the sun coming out. Because I'd rather eat alone while you have canned soup than spend a single day without you." She was crying in earnest now. "I wanted to trust you. I wanted to eat your food so badly, but every time I tried, I know. It's okay. We'll do this your way. At your pace." He squeezed her hands. "Can I come in?" She nodded, and he spent the next hour filling her kitchen with canned goods. Shelf, stable meals, protein bars, instant oatmeal. Everything she could possibly need to feel safe. "You bought out the entire store," she said, somewhere between laughing and crying. "I wanted you to have options." He turned to face her. "And I want you to know I'm not going anywhere. Not because of this. Not because of anything. You're stuck with me, Daniela Monroe. If you'll have me." She crossed the distance between them and kissed him, soft and desperate and trembling. "I'm falling in love with you too," she whispered against his lips. I'm terrified, but I am. Then fall, he said. I'll catch you. I promise. They started over, building something new from the ashes of his frustration and her fear. Adam brought her sealed meals from restaurants, showed her unopened containers, never pushed. And slowly, Daniela began to let him in, not just into her apartment, but into the scared, broken parts of herself she'd kept hidden. She told him about Maya in pieces, about the little girl she'd loved more than anything, about the betrayal that had nearly killed her, about the letters she'd burned without reading because she couldn't bear to hear Maya say she was sorry, about how she'd learned that love could be a weapon, that the people closest to you could hurt you the most, that opening your heart was just inviting someone to tear it apart. Adam listened, held her, loved her through every tear and panic attack and moment of doubt. And then, carefully, he started cooking again. Just for me, he said the first time. You don't have to eat it. I just want to be here with you. Daniela watched him move through her kitchen, and something in her chest began to unknot. Weeks turned into months. Adam would cook, taste his food, and she would watch. Sometimes she'd try a bite. Sometimes she couldn't. He never complained, never made her feel guilty, just loved her exactly as she was. Until one night, 3 months after he'd filled her kitchen with cans, Adam was making chicken soup, his grandmother's recipe, the one that took hours and filled the apartment with warmth. He ladled some into a bowl and lifted it to taste. Daniela's spoon hit the broth first. Adam froze, spoon halfway to his lips, watching her eat. Once, twice, 3 times. Daniela, he breathed. She looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. You didn't get to taste it first. You didn't need me to. No, she whispered. I didn't. Because I trust you, Adam. Completely. With my life. With my heart. With everything. The spoon clattered from his hand. He moved around the counter and pulled her into his arms, and she clung to him like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. I love you, he said fiercely. God, Daniela, I love you so much, it terrifies me. I love you too. So much. I think I've loved you since you showed up with those ridiculous grocery bags. He laughed, kissed her, tasted salt and soup and something that felt like forever. 6 months later, Adam had a plan. It involved Rebecca, a private chef, and enough fairy lights to illuminate a small city. Daniela thought they were going to Rebecca's bakery for a tasting something about a new product line Rebecca wanted her opinion on. What she didn't know was that Adam had rented out the entire bakery for the evening. When they walked in, Daniela stopped dead. The bakery had been transformed. Fairy lights draped from every surface, casting everything in soft gold. Candles flickered on every table. And in the center of it all was a table set for 2, with sealed containers of food from her favorite restaurant and a single red rose. Adam, what is this? Sit with me, he said softly, leading her to the table. They ate in comfortable silence, the kind that comes when 2 people know each other's rhythms. Daniela was reaching for her water glass when her fingers brushed against something small and velvet soft, tucked beneath her napkin. She froze. Her hands trembled as she pulled out the small black box, her eyes flying to Adam's face. He was watching her with such tenderness, such love that her breath caught. Adam? She whispered. He stood and moved around the table, taking the box from her shaking hands and opening it. The diamond caught the candlelight, sparkling like captured starlight. Then he dropped to one knee. I need you to know that I will spend the rest of my life proving you can trust me. That I will taste every meal, hold you through every panic attack, fill your cabinets with canned soup, and never, ever make you feel like your caution is something to be ashamed of. His eyes were shining now. I need you to know that you're not broken or damaged or too much. You're the woman I want to wake up to every morning and fall asleep beside every night. He held up the ring, and it caught the light like a promise. Daniela Monroe, you are the bravest, strongest, most beautiful person I have ever known. You survived something that would have destroyed most people, and you're still here, still standing, still learning to trust again. And I want to be the man you trust for the rest of your life. Will you marry me? Daniela was sobbing now, ugly crying in the way that only happens when you're so happy you can't contain it. Yes, she gasped. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Adam slid the ring onto her finger with shaking hands. And then he was standing, pulling her into his arms, kissing her like she was oxygen, and he'd been drowning. I love you, she said between kisses. I love you so much. I love you too. Always. Forever. No matter what. And then, because Daniela was Daniela and Adam was Adam, she picked up a spoon and took a bite of the chocolate mousse. It was perfect. Sweet and rich and tasting like love and trust and new beginnings. Good? Adam asked, watching her with wonder. Perfect, she whispered. Everything is perfect. 6 months after their engagement, Daniela Monroe married Adam Castellano in a small ceremony surrounded by the people they love. Rebecca was her maid of honor. Marcus was the best man. And when they cut their wedding cake made by Rebecca's own hands, eaten without hesitation, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Because this wasn't just a wedding. It was a resurrection. A woman who'd been poisoned by love learning to taste it again. A man who'd refused to give up on her heart. 2 people who'd found each other in the wreckage and built something beautiful. They bought a house with a kitchen big enough for Adam to cook and Daniela to watch. Her cabinets still stocked with canned goods just in case, but needed less and less as the years went on. And every night, without fail, Adam would taste the first bite of dinner while Daniela watched. Not because she needed him to anymore, but because it had become their ritual, their love language, their way of saying, I see you, I choose you. I will never stop proving you can trust me. Some love stories are easy. Others are earned through patience and canned soup and spoons that move faster than fear. This was one of the latter. And it was perfect.